Welcome, Lee. It's great to have you here. Thanks for taking the time. Before we dive into your trading journey on the program, what was your journey like before joining the program? Could you give us a brief history?
Yeah, so I come from a background that wasn't really much trade based. I dabbled at, funnily, I ended up coming into the journey with a mate, and we just dabbled into crypto a bit and just challenged each other to see what we, nominal amounts, what we could make in a month, for instance. So just got into a bit of the patterns like that, but with no real structure. It was more, I dare say, it was more down to chance than anything else. Um, but that's probably for the last couple of years. So that's generally been the background. It's not been anything. I come from a full time working background outside of this. So I've almost come into this with a broad mind really, and a blank canvas, and just to see what I could pick up. And so hopefully I've had no bad habits, should we say, coming into this, other than jovial bit of trading, really.
Wait, so was this part of the challenge for you joining the program?
If so, he wouldn't have known it. It was a challenge to myself after that, really. After just having a play with it, you start thinking, oh, I wonder if this is something I could take on. Um, like, it was only nominal amounts before, but I enjoyed it and enjoyed the challenge.
Hmm.
And I thought, I suppose it was a bit of a challenge to myself to see if it was something that I could take on a bit more seriously.
Yeah, that's fascinating because it's a unique way to enter the program. For most people, it's I joined the crypto market, I lost a bunch of money, I realized I need some help. How do I get this done? So, but your method of starting is the dream. Like that, I literally built this program to be exactly what I wish I had when I first started with a blank slate. So you had some time doing this by yourself. During that time, were you doing things right? Was it going well?
Um, when I look back at it now, no. It was more down to chance and with no real structure, should we say?
Hmm.
I suppose it was the basic. See if you can pick it up on a trough,
Yeah.
and see if you can sell high. But we used to do little monthly challenges to see what would end up at the end of the month, and generally we both always ended up losing what we'd started with, albeit nominal amounts.
Yeah.
Um, but you start to see that it's not just picking a trough and picking and selling on the peak.
Hmm.
There's all sorts of market directions and things that was part of the reason why I come onto this course, see if I could
How long were you doing
look into
these
that.
challenges with your friend before you decided to join the program?
I'd say probably about 6 months. We were both working on the same job, and it was just a bit of a side track to that where we both challenge each other. He's nothing to do with this, by the way.
Yeah, of
And,
course.
and ever since he's moved on to another job. Still keeping contact and going to his wedding actually this year. But yeah, so that's probably 6 months, and you start to learn the basics of the candlesticks and of how the bit of momentum works with the general market. But outside of that, I was lost at sea really.
So you lost money from most of the 6 months.
I'd say every month it was more of a challenge of who lost the least.
Okay, got it. And why do you think you were not making money? Because even though it was nominal amounts, the things that make you lose money on $100 are exactly the same that make you lose money on $100,000.
Yeah, I think looking back to it, I probably won a couple of trades and then just thought you suddenly think you've cracked it there, and then you head further down that path,
Yeah.
and then the market might shift slightly, and then it's just you start thinking, well, this it's not quite as straightforward as you think here, and then the losses
Yeah.
just build up, and then you just try to minimise it come to the end of the month. Um, so I think that's generally. That's generally why the losses mounted up, and then you start trying different things, and you realise that you're all at sea with it really.
Now, of all the influencers in the space, all the people who are teaching trading in some way, shape, or form, how did you find out about this mentorship and decide to progress here?
I found out from this mentorship. Through the months that I was looking at it, you start having a look on X and
Hmm.
different links, and you start, there might be a few coins that you're following and stuff, and then people are tagged onto this, and then I come across yours,
Hmm.
um, and it seemed more of an unbiased view, should we say, from other people trying to lead you down this coin or that coin or this trading
Yeah.
pattern or something. So it was more of an unbiased view, and it hooked me in. Before I started this, I had watched a few of your videos and a few of your strategies, um, and before I joined this, you start looking at them and thinking, right, yeah, I get that. And then you try and interpret it, but you realise that you need to be driven by somebody really. You still need to kind of coach you in that way of why you're not
Hmm.
quite followed it right, or why you've made this mistake here, and so on and so forth. So I stumbled upon this through X really, through various links, and then
Hmm.
I followed it through, and that's where we are now.
Did you have any doubts before joining? Like, oh, is this going to work out? Should I join this?
I think when the opportunity arisen, um, you realize that you need to be it's not just a jump in and jump out kind of thing. You need to be focused on it. You need to be dedicated, and you need to dedicate time to it. And outside of what I've just been talking about, through my work and the industry I'm in, I've been doing it for 20, 25 years, and irrespective of me taking laughing trades with me friend. Um, I've started it in my life wanting new challenges anyway, really. But I'm a bit too old to just start somewhere at the bottom in a traineeship of something, uh, whether it be, I don't know, nursing or whatever it is. Um, and I was intrigued on this side of it really. And in my line of work, I work with figures quite a bit, and I just and I thought it started to go out of the jovial side then, and I thought, I'll give this a go. It's worth investing in myself on something that I'd like to um, take on. In the worst case, it's a hobby and it's something that I can do on the side of my work, or which hopefully is the case, that in the future I can take it on full time, and you'd start taking it, fully seriously as a way of life.
Oh, fantastic! So it's a great route for you because you don't have to start at the bottom. You get to leverage the fact that you've built up capital in your current career, which accelerates this career and yeah, very easily doable alongside. Lots of benefits. I can see why that makes sense for you. Uh, well, how did it go? You joined the program. You trained for a bit. Where's your trading at now? You still losing money every month?
No, I'm not losing money. It was the first few months was more educating myself really. Obviously, still with nominal amounts. Um, so just learning the different strategies that are there, not just on the technical side, but the emotional side as well,
Hmm.
really. Um, and I'm probably about 6 or 7 months into it now, um, and it's been really good, and a good eye opener. Um, and I am profitable, even though it's I've not built up to a full size portfolio, so to speak. But you start to find your little niches in what you enjoy doing in the trading. And from the beginning, I thought, at the start of it, I thought, I am dedicating quite a bit of time to this, and I have a work, family, and so on and so forth that you're juggling about. And now I've just I wouldn't say addicted to it, but there's always a slot in the day now where I fully concentrate and give it me all.
And is that enough to maintain the profitability? Just one slot in the day?
It has been for me, yes.
Nice.
I do, because sometimes I am quite busy through the week. I will take a slot on a weekend or something
Hmm.
when the family's away in bed or whatever, and I found that helps. Um, but yes, yeah, I have. I've found that's been enough for me.
Hmm.
Um, Now, obviously, it's still I'm only a few months in, so I'm I'm far from the finished article, but I can see the progression, and over the next coming months, hopefully that ramps up more.
Yeah, well, our first challenge is always getting people profitable, and then afterwards we scale them up as high as they can possibly go. So you mentioned before joining, one of the issues was you wanted someone there to help guide you when a topic isn't clear, someone you can ask questions to, really get a handheld experience through anything. Did you find that on the program? How did it help with that?
Yeah, I have. I've noticed that, and especially in the reviews on the monthly reviews, they're dissected somewhat as to see, so you can see exactly where your mistakes are going. And it's been, and that's the bit. It's the hard learning the harsh reality of where you're going wrong, and opening your mind that you can accept you're fallible, and it's early days,
Yeah.
and you can push forward. And there's always people on the end of the line there. I can post questions whenever I like. Um, and you're chatting with someone monthly as well to give you a bit of a monthly review on how you've gone right or wrong. And I think that is more than anything, I think that's the most important part for me, um, to just have that kind of interaction. It's all right having it all on videos and notes and stuff like that, but it's about having that interaction of someone coaxing you through it. That's been probably the most worthwhile thing to me.
Oh, absolutely. For anyone listening, the monthly reviews are when a coach goes over the journal and sees what trades you've taken over the month, what you've done well, what you've done badly, and then there's a one-on-one call to discuss that. So you found that process really helpful, eye-opening, I think you said.
Mm.
How are you trading different now than when you were before the program? What were the key changes to how you trade?
Well, first of all, you take a broader view first. You'll see how the market's reacted to the day and the sentiments, and then you from that you can start homing into what kind of trades you might be more focusing on, and eradicating the
Did you not used to
ones.
do that before? Like,
No, well, no, scattergun. It was. Oh, I like the look of that. Well, I might go into there. Whereas at this moment in time, I'm probably filtering out 80 or 90% of it.
so now you start
Uh,
with a broad overview of the market, and there's specific stuff you're looking for,
yes,
and most of it you ignore.
correct. Yeah, and I've through the time, I've been training myself that I can kind of filter out a lot of the noise now,
Nice.
and focus into what I particularly want to do in that day in relation to how the market's going.
And so one key change was you start with a broad overview, filter stuff out. Are there any other key things you're doing different with your trading that are really helping you that anyone listening to might benefit from?
Um, it 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 also helps you with your entry and exit points. I've noticed that before it was it was a bit of a guess and where I should be
Yeah.
leaving and where I should be entering. I might have just opened something and just pressed enter. And what you learn in the course is you kind of you're almost sitting back and just waiting for that moment when you should be
Hmm.
entering. Um, and equally as important as exiting at a point as well. So that's been revolutionary to me, really, and and has helped me on the way to being profitable.
So a clear strategy for entry, exit, and everything in between, really.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Nice, fantastic. Uh, you also mentioned having limited time because you have work and family as well.
hmm
How have you set up your trading in a way where you can still fit those slots in? How long are those slots, and what are you using for time management?
I will dedicate a couple of hours to it each evening. Really,
Okay.
I'll do my day's work, do the bits and bobs, and then I will there'll be a couple of hours set for me.
So you're
Um,
maintaining a profitable strategy with 2 hours a day, pretty much right now.
I am, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
nice.
Sometimes it might be a bit more. Sometimes, generally 2 hours is the benchmark that will give you a good time to plan your strategy, enter, exit, and reevaluate really what you've done.
Fantastic. And what's your next big goal for your trading?
The next big goal is to continue the route. Really, you find you're always learning. It as the months roll by, you're getting more and more experience
Mhm.
in it. You start finding, little patterns or red flags that you should be doing, you shouldn't be doing.
Yep.
So I aim to keep going down that route and scaling up, hopefully to my full portfolio level of what I wanted to do, what I've planned from the start, and then see what happens from there. Really, see if I take it on.
Looking forward to working with you to getting there. Lee,
Thank you.
thank you so much for taking the time. Before we hop off, I have one last question. That's what would you tell someone who's watching this interview right now and is unsure about taking the next steps and joining the program?
I'd say that if your heart's set on it and you're dedicated and you're willing to put the time in, then it will change. I mean, it's almost changed the way, not even in trading, it's changed the way I've had an outlook on life on the emotional side and the structural side. I'd say go for it. I'd say it's you put the time and the effort in, and it'll be brought back to you by the team.